a double bye college football playoffs. Not one bye, but a double bye for the top two rated teams going into the playoffs for 2026. Are you crazy? Are you nuts? Have you lost your mind? Well, it is a new concept, according to Ross Dillinger's report, that is being talked about, and we were told the reason why. It wasn't part of the report, but we here at Peek Around the Corner has been told the reason why, and we'll get to it in our monologue. Holy smokes. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends. If you want to support this rebel outpost, if you want to support this home for the college football sickos with a donation to help us keep the lights on, just hit that $sign where you make your comments, and I'll get to you super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome everybody into the studio that sits on the corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments and with your phone calls. I was hoping, I was expecting that on our Friday, late afternoon, early evening, depending on where you are in this great country of ours, I was thinking we were going to talk about the decision that Judge Wilkin made in the state of California. Now remember, it's 5 o'clock Eastern time right now. It is 4 o'clock Central time right now. It's only 2 o'clock out at where Jose is in California. So we still could see something breaking as we're doing our live show. And if it does break, first of all, you all of you know that I lean on the community, our community we have built, our family that we have built here at Peek Around the Corner. I lean on you guys more than any host on any college football YouTube channel. Because this is the national live show in which the phone calls, you guys rule the show. And so, please, keep your head on a swivel during this live show like you should be doing on every live show. But make this one a special commitment. Make it a special commitment. We're going to have you sign the affiliation member. We're going to have you sign the PATC family membership dotted line. You got to be committed. You got to be committed to keep your head on a swivel. And let me know in the chat room. Let me know in the chat that there is breaking news with Judge Wilkins. The DMs are sort of working. Kind of working. I've gotten a few of them lately. One time I was sitting here in the studio and my message thing just blinked for a second. And I checked it and there was a DM and I could get to it. But anyways, if something happens, if Judge Wilkins comes down with the declaration of deny, approved, or delay, please put it in the chat. Because then we got to switch. We got to switch up. Timberwolves are in trouble. The Timberwolves are in trouble because they're playing the better team. Oklahoma City Thunder is a couple levels above the Timberwolves. Not just one level above the Timberwolves. Oklahoma City Thunder, I think you can feel it. I think you can taste it. The fans, NBA World Championship is right there for the taking. Right there. You can beat the Knicks. You can beat the Pacers. It's right there for the taking, Oklahoma City Thunder. Ryan Willie. FanDuel has Wisconsin over and under 5.5 in Minnesota at 6.5. I have been, now, look, Dante's Inferno Purgatory. I have not earned a cheeseburger yet. I have not earned a cheeseburger yet. Minnesota has not lost to Wisconsin. Minnesota still has the axe. I completely believe that the Big Ten and the SEC are going to end up with 4 auto bids. No cheeseburger for me. Now, back to this over and under. I've had a lot of people say, Greg, yes, you run a national college football YouTube channel, And once in a while, you give us your Golden Gopher propaganda, but usually you stay away from talking Gopher football. But there isn't many, if at all, any other representative of the Golden Gophers on college football YouTube channels. I mean, I'm basically it. So, people have asked me, what do you think about the over and under of 6.5? You seem a little bit more optimistic. You were optimistic last year. The year before you were not, Greg, but last year you were. And this year you're optimistic. Is 6.5, are you upset with that number? Is Minnesota getting disrespected with that number over and under 6.5? I really believe that 6.5 number is showing the Golden Gophers a lot of respect. A lot. I'm a little surprised it's at 6.5. It started at 5.5 a couple months ago. Think about it. Think about all. Now we've gone over I mean, it's only May 23rd, and we have talked a lot of football during the off season. We're going to talk a little bit more football, Heisman Watch, during this monologue of this live show. We've gone over the quarterbacks. You go over the quarterbacks in the Big 12. You go over the quarterbacks of the Big 10. You go over the quarterbacks of the ACC. You go over the quarterbacks of the SEC. And who among the Power 4 conference teams has the least known starting quarterback? Who is the least known? Can any of you name who the starting quarterback of the Golden Gopher is going to be in 2025? And that's my point. The Gophers have an over-under number of 6.5 when people have no idea if Drake Lindsay, what he can. First of all, most people don't know his name. They don't know who the Gopher quarterback is. He hasn't faced any live bullets except for the Rhode Island FCS game of last year. But yet the gambling sites and people are saying Fleck's got a pretty good team this year. Tom Fornelli of CBS Sports, PJ Fleck, this Gophers team, I got to go over because once again, they are criminally underrated. If you would have told me 10 years ago, before PJ Fleck's arrival, that the Gophers would ever have an over-under number of 6.5 when they had a freshman quarterback that nobody knew of, I would have said you're crazy. But the fact of the matter is, the Gophers have got some dudes on the team. Darius Taylor, the great running back, defensive tackle, Anthony Smith. He is going to be sensational this year. And of course, Coy Perch. I mean, either the best safety in the country or the second best safety in the country, and he's going to be playing offense this year. He's going to be this year's Travis Hunter. Did I just say that? Did I just say Coy Perch is going to be this year's Travis Hunter? I think I did. I think I did. I think I did. So, 6.5, I'm good with that number. We've got an easier schedule this year than last year. I'm good with 6.5. We'll rise up again. We will overproduce once again. We will break expectations once again. Row the boat. Sky Yuma. Go Gophers. Thank you so much, Ryan, Willie, Greg. The commissioners have lost their bleeping minds long ago. Thank you, Ryan, Willie, for the super chat. Thank you for your generosity. Appreciate it so very much. Well, you know, what's up in that coffee cup? What is in this coffee cup is squirt. I'm going with no caffeine squirt during the live show. Okay, let's do a roll call real quick here, and then we got to get to our show again. Double bye in the 2026 playoffs. A double bye. What is going on? What is going on? And to get back to your generous super chat, Ryan Willie. I have not expressed a whole lot of positivity when it has come to the commissionerships of both Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti. I think they've lost the plot a long time ago. The Walking Geek is in the house. Ryan Brooks is here. Jimmy is here. Jose, CFB Plus, good afternoon. Good afternoon to you. Begaman is in the house. Thanks for coming on in, Begaman. Jose, happy Memorial Day weekend, family. Remember the fallen heroes. Yes. Yes, the ones who gave all, or even the ones who gave a whole hell of a lot. And of course, the family members who lost their loved ones because they sacrificed for this country. And I think about my father who passed away September 2023. We still got the American flag up on the shelf along with his ashes that are going to be buried at a military site once my mom leaves us. And I think back, this is going to be just completely etched in my mind. But you know, these young men and women way back in the day, and even of course today, they do a lot more than just protecting us at night and during the day so we can put our heads on the pillow and sleep. They do a lot more than just learning how to protect this country. About 3 months after my father passed away, I went into my mother's bedroom. She's sitting on the edge of the bed, and she's got a photo album up. The photo album opened up, and she's looking at it, and I could tell that she's pretty emotional, which is kind of uncommon for my mother. She's a tough Irish old woman, but she was emotional looking at the pictures. And in my mind, I'm thinking she must be looking at family pictures, must be looking at us kids, or maybe she's looking at her grandchildren, or maybe she's looking at her wedding pictures. But the book didn't look familiar to me, and she's been looking at quite a lot of pictures lately. So I didn't quite know what she was looking at, but I was thinking it was going to be family photos. About 3 months after my father passed away, I sat next to my mother, trying to comfort her, and I looked down, and I see a bunch of kids, all about 5, 6, 7, 10 years old, 12 years old, a lot of them. They're all huddled up. They got these smiles on their face. And it's like it's these black and white pictures. Black and white pictures. You knew they were old. I didn't recognize any of the faces. I couldn't figure out where these pictures were taken from. One right after the other. Always a large group of people. You know they were taken back in the 50s or somewhere back then. And I'm like, I don't think these are my older cousins. Something ain't right about this. So I said, Ma, who are these? Who are these children? And my mom said, I can't believe I forgot about these photos, but these are the pictures that your dad, as she pointed to me, would take pictures of the children in the orphanages in West Berlin. And my dad would go visit them on a consistent basis to spend time with them, and he would take pictures of these kids, and he's always kept those photos. I never saw them. So when I think back to my father's service, that was part of his service. And this is what our men and women, the best people in our country, when they serve our country, they're doing more than just getting up on an airplane. They're doing more than just getting on a naval ship. They're doing more than going into a tank. They're doing more than intelligence or research or whatever. They're doing a lot for this country. A lot of it is unknown. A lot of it is in silence. And the sacrifice, a lot of it is in silence. So that is why Memorial Day is so important. So thank you for that reminder, Jose. I appreciate it so very much. Now, Larry the GM is in the house. Daniel Gygax, Tu Mazda, RT. Who else is here? Tony says, I don't see a loss on the schedule. Yeah. Greg, I was at the Travis Air Force Base with two Wold brothers whose great-grandfather was the name on the Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport. Wow, both great guys and both huge fans of all Minnesota sports teams. Boy, it's hard to be a fan of a Minnesota sports team because once again, this studio sits in the middle of Loserville City, and I am your mayor. Once the Timberwolves lose to the Oklahoma City Thunder in the conference finals, you're going to see statistics. They're going to be all over the place. When is the last time a professional franchise has won a world championship in the state of Minnesota, even though we've got men's sports, even though we've got professional sports franchises in every sport you could imagine? And how many times have those sports teams lost in the conference finals? How many times in a row? How many times have the Vikings lost? How many times have the Vikings gone to the NFC Conference Championship and not make it to the Super Bowl? How many losses in a row? I don't know what the number is. It's a lot. It is huge. And now the Timberwolves are going to lose for 2 years in a row in the Western Conference Finals. It is unbelievable. Thanks, Vox Quindaro. That's an outstanding act of kindness. Thank you. Yep, Papa Flugar did good. Tony, tough Tony, wait till next year. The Minnesota State Model. 1987 and 1991. They won 2 World Series. And that's it. That is what Minnesota has won when it comes to men's professional sports. 1987 and 1991. Now, go ahead and count up all the seasons that the Twins have played in since 1961. Count up all the seasons that the Vikings have played in since 1961. Count up all the season of the North Stars, of the Minnesota Wild, of the Minnesota Timberwolves, and all these other sports that soccer, Minnesota Kicks, and now Minnesota United. Herbeck cheated. I'm glad he did. How about them apples? I'm glad Herbeck cheated. That is how bitter I have become. Okay, here we go, guys. We got a lot to get to. No more wasting time. No more complaining. Online Athens. The Georgia president backs the Southeastern Conference schools getting on board with House settlement enforcement rules. Now, we've talked about Georgia's president before. I'm going to circle back. This guy is the Georgia president has always been shut up and fall in line. That's the type of guy he is. We've talked about him before. I'm going to talk about him again here after the story about another story that we have covered with Georgia's president. But let's go through this article first. Greensboro, Georgia, University of Georgia president Moorhead wants all SEC schools to get on board with enforcement rules that would be in place under the proposed NCAA versus House settlement. Speaking after Georgia's athletic board meeting on Thursday, May 22nd, Moorhead confirmed the Yahoo Sports report that power conferences, including the SEC, are circulating a document meant to keep universities from using state laws to violate enforcement policies and would make schools waive their right to pursue legal challenges against the new enforcement arm called the College Sports Commission. A story that we've been covering here at Peek Around the Corner. I'm not going to forget about the Minnesota Lakers, but they're no longer our franchise. And the last championship was what? 1951, 1948. I do not remember. I was only a twinkle in my father's eye. We think everyone should be bound to honor the House settlement, Moorhead said after the meeting at the Ritz-Carlton Lodge. We agreed to the House settlement. This is the point that I've been making. All your schools have agreed to the settlement. All of them. Back to the article. Each and every president in the Southeastern Conference committed to supporting the House settlement. And if the judge approves it, and maybe we'll find out during this live show, so keep your head on a swivel. If the judge approves it, we intend to follow the settlement, and we expect every other SEC institution, as well as others in the Power Four, to honor the settlement that they've agreed to. The document is meant to be signed by Power Conference schools to bind the group and offer stability for rules including an NIL clearinghouse that would be run by Deloitte called NIL Go. That would be better enforced booster pay, according to Yahoo. That would be better to enforce booster pay, according to Yahoo. Those would be for so-called over-the-cap deals outside of the cap of at least $20.5 million per year of direct payments from schools to players. One of the unfortunate things we're dealing with is this uncontrolled environment with NIL is not what anyone ever expected or intended when NIL started being talked about 5 or 6 years ago, Moorhead said early this week. Now we have a totally unregulated industry that I think is being corrupted by a lot of outside influences. I hope the House settlement will be the first step in putting some safeguards around NIL, but I still believe it's going to take a federal legislation to solve the problems we're facing. So in other words, Moorhead is saying out loud, which is all the chatter that's been behind the curtain. They got to get this approved, but it needs to get codified. they need to have federal legislation to make sure that this does not collapse. The Power Conference, rather than the NCAA, would be in charge of enforcing new rules from the settlement. NCAA President Charlie Baker confirmed this week, according to Front Office Sports. A Tennessee state law signed by Governor Bill Lee on May 1st protects universities in the state from anticipated antitrust lawsuits from athletes with anticipated new player pay rules in college sports. And finally, in the article, the law would allow SEC schools like Tennessee and Vanderbilt, that Tennessee state law, to pay their college athletes beyond the pending NCAA restrictions, such as a salary cap or a clearinghouse that vets name, image, and likeness contracts, according to the Knoxville News Sentinel. Schools that don't sign the proposed document, the affiliated membership document, being circulated to schools, could risk eviction from a conference. Said the Georgia President Moorhead, I don't know why anyone would resist saying that they will do what they promised to do. That's all that we're talking about, that we all agreed to honor what we said we would do. That is President Moorhead of Georgia. He is a stickler. He's a stickler for the rules. When people often talk about the possibility of the SEC having unequal revenue sharing in the conference, where Alabama and Georgia and others would get a little bit more and the bottom of the SEC would get a little less, the president of Georgia, Moorhead, is not in favor of that. He's like, no, we're all in this together. We share our content. We are in this together. We're not going to go down that pathway. Moorhead wasn't thrilled with schools in the ACC challenging going to the courts. He has made that known privately. Georgia is going to be one of these schools that Florida State and Clemson are going to have to overcome to get them on board or get an invite, regardless of how Georgia would vote on them. So Georgia Moorhead, now he's saying, basically sign that affiliation membership document to say you are committed, because you've already given the go-ahead. You've already given approval on the settlement. So why would you not follow through and sign this affiliated membership? So Moorhead of Georgia is a powerful voice in the Southeastern Conference, and he's using it again, trying to use it again nationally. We shall see what happens. We shall see what happens. Okay. We're going to get to that double bye here in a little bit. First of all, Pro Football Focus. We're going to talk a little football. We're going to talk a little football. Pro Football Focus. The 5 Heisman Trophy candidates to know entering the 2025 season. All right? Who are they going to be? Who are they going to be? What are the 5 names? Arch Manning. Again, a quarterback who hasn't really faced a whole lot of live bullets. But I am the conductor on the Manning hype train, and Pro Football Focus is riding in there with me. Manning is the current betting favorite to take home the Heisman Trophy next season at plus 700, according to FanDuel Sportsbook. Part of that has to do with the redshirt sophomore's last name. The other is due to the fact that he was the number 1 overall recruit for the 2023 high school class. Manning impressed in limited action last year that included 2 starts. His 88 Pro Football Focus grade of the season was 12th among FBS quarterbacks with at least 100 dropbacks. If Texas is one of the top teams in America this season, like many are expecting, Manning will surely be receiving Heisman votes. The second one, Cade Klubnik. Absolutely Cade Klubnik. He's got to be on there. There might not have been a more improved quarterback in college football this past season than Klubnik. After placing 102nd among the FBS signal callers in 2023 with a 63.9 Pro Football Focus passing grade, he ranked 5th in 2024 with an 87.7 mark. Cade Klubnik, Pro Football Focus, he's my top returning quarterback in college football on what may be the most talented team in the country. Arch Manning, Cade Klubnik, who is the third name on the list. You got it. Quarterback Sam Levitt, Arizona State. After spending 1 season at Michigan State, Levitt transferred to Arizona State and helped the Sun Devils go from back-to-back 3-9 seasons to winning the Big 12 and making the college football playoff quarterfinals. The redshirt freshman, 89.1 Pro Football Focus overall grade, ranked 9th among FBS quarterbacks, and he's the only one. He's the only Power 4 signal caller with an 80-plus grades, both as a passer and a runner. His 1.1% turnover-worthy play rate ranked 4th among all quarterbacks. His 34 forced missed tackles on the ground were the 5th most at the position in the Power 4. Wow. Sam Levitt, the third man listed on the 5 candidates Pro Football Focus. Who's going to be number 4? So far, it's been Arch Manning, Cade Klubnik, and Sam Levitt. Garrett Nussmeier. The Nuss Bus, as Ryan Brooks has said in the chat room. Garrett Nussmeier, after sitting on the bench for 3 years, Nussmeier finally received his chance to start for the Tigers as a redshirt junior. He extended the flashes of brilliance. Absolutely correct. I'm telling you, man, I knocked this guy all during the off season last year, but when the games began, Garrett Nussmeier, I was impressed with him, even on week 1 loss last year for LSU. This kid can play. 4,043 yards passing last year. My goodness. Nussmeier should put up huge numbers once again in LSU's offense next season. Hopefully, LSU has a better running game than last year. Garrett Nussmeier on the list. Who's the last name on here? Who is going to be the last name? We've had 4 quarterbacks. Arch Manning, Cade Klubnik. We've had 4 quarterbacks. The 5th one cannot be a quarterback, right? Right? Jeremiah Smith, the Buckeye. Of course, he's got to be on the list. The Heisman Trophy is mostly a quarterback award, as 7 of the last 9 winners have come from that position. However, the trophy is supposed to be given to the most outstanding player in college football, and that is what Jeremiah Smith is. True freshman. We don't have to go through it. Jeremiah Smith is the real deal Holyfield. He's going to have a sensational season. He's going to help the new quarterback of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Although I cannot put Jeremiah Smith as the favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. To me, it's between Arch Manning and Cade Klubnik. The reason I can't have Jeremiah Smith as one of the top two, I put him at number 3. I'll put Jeremiah Smith at number 3. But I can't put him 1 or 2 because there's a game on the schedule where Jeremiah Smith is going to be slowed down, where he's going to be denied, where he's going to be man pressed at the line of scrimmage, where Jeremiah Smith is going to be clutched and grabbed all the way down the field. A certain team is going to force the referees to throw the flag almost every play. Jeremiah Smith is going to get slowed down. He might even get shut down by the Minnesota Golden Gophers on October 4th. That is why I can't have Jeremiah Smith winning no Heisman Trophy. Okay, anyways, put down your comments and thoughts, and you can talk about it in your phone calls later in the show. The title of this live show, 2026 College Football Playoff Double Bye? What are we talking about here? What could we possibly be talking about here? Double bye? Well, it's an idea that has been brought up. Here is Ross Dellinger's report yesterday after we were not able to cover this yesterday because we were already finished our live show, but Ross Dellinger, more reports. Big Ten and SEC officials have been in deep discussion on remaking the conference championship weekend to include play-in games, all that stuff, right? Well, he added this in his report yesterday. Conference championship games still provide some value. Under the proposed format, conference champions may earn one of the 2 coveted double byes into the quarterfinals. Holy smokes. Now again, as I teased at the beginning of this live show, we were told the reason why. Why this is a new concept that is being discussed. I don't know if it's the chalk. Hopefully it's not. But we were told the motivations. That was not captured in this report. So we're going to give you that peek around the corner. We're going to give you that information during this live show. But first of all, not everyone completely understands what we're even talking about. So let's cover that first. A 16-team bracket is expected to necessitate a schedule shuffle of playoff games in December, as reported last week by Yahoo Sports. I guess it was covered, but we're going to cover it in more detail. Under one idea, 2 CFP college football playoff games would be played the second weekend of December, when the Army-Navy traditionally meet and when no NFL games are scheduled. Winners of those first 2 round games, number 13 seed hosting the number 16 seed, and number 14 seed hosting the number 15 seed would advance to a bracket of 10 awaiting teams. The other two teams, the top two teams, would be waiting in quarterfinal games on New Year's Day or New Year's Eve. Okay? Now, so this is me saying, under one idea, first round playoffs, 16 at 13, 15 at 14. The winner of those two games will join the ranked teams of 3 to 12 in the second round of the playoffs. So with 16 teams, you're going to get 2 teams eliminated. So now you're down to 14 teams. In the first round, 2 teams are eliminated. In the second round, 12 teams will participate. 12 teams will participate 6 games. Of course, 6 teams will be eliminated, and then those 6 winners will join 1 and 2 for the quarterfinals. So the first and second ranked teams get a double bye. 3 through 12 get 1 bye. And 16, 13, 15, and 14, holy smokes, they've got a gauntlet to run through. I mean, there's a very high, anyways, it's a double bye for the top ranked 2 teams in the playoffs. Wow. I never thought I would see this type of idea. It's just one idea now, right? Just one idea. Under one idea, 2 college football playoffs games would be played in the second weekend of December. Wow. Still can't believe what I just saw in regards to that. Maria Hernandez Garcia Flugar is in the chat room. The moderator who rules with an iron fist. So everybody behave themselves. Daniel Gygax. So 5 weeks of college football playoffs. So the top 2 teams don't get a home game. Quite possibly. We still don't know. We don't know if the New Year's 6 bowl games are going to be the quarterfinals and the semifinals. We think they're going to be, but that hasn't become official yet. In fact, we haven't found out. There's so many things I could talk. We're going to push the envelope a little bit here, but we haven't learned anything about these bowl games. We don't know if the bowl games are going to be part of the 2026 playoffs. Now this year, 2025, is the last year of all these official bowl tie-ins from bowls with conferences. I will say this. Justin Walker from Who's Corner talked about this on an episode, so I feel like I can talk about it. If you missed Who's Corner a couple of episodes ago, these bowl games, how they line up, which bowl game goes to which conference, who's going to be sponsoring these bowl games, that it could, all of it, part of it, a little bit of it, could be a slice of it, could all pertain to what is circling around when it comes to private capital deals within conferences. Could be. These private capital deals also could be the reason why conferences are the Big 12 and the ACC, and why the Big 10, they very well, nothing official, but they could be involved in these play-in games as well. I think there is a strong possibility that we're going to have all these bowl games, right? And they're going to have sponsorships. But these play-in games could have their own names attached to the play-in games. So it could be called the Big Gun Shop, Spectacular in Lubbock, Texas play-in game. They're going to, so it's going to be, there could be a different and more profitable sponsorships coming on in, marketing, whatever they're marketing with all these events that are going on in college football. Yes, ESPN owns the bowl system. They own the New Year's Six bowl games, but are they going to be part of the playoffs? That has not been official yet. Anyways, I've gotten way off the path. What was I even talking about? Oh, the double bye. Okay. So, yes, the double bye has to do with doing an end run around the NFL. The double bye has to do, some sort of version of it is an attempt to say we're not going to cram in 8 first round games starting December 19th or 20th or whatever during that weekend, because our value of our playoff games, our first round games, and some of them aren't going to be all that valuable to our media partner, ESPN, or not as much as the other ones. Basically, it's saying we need a clear slot here for viewership. Plus, we don't want to schedule 8 games during a 3-game weekend. So they're going to cut this in pieces, or they're trying to figure out a way they can cut it in pieces. So they can shrink down the playoff format. They can shrink down the number of teams that make the playoffs, but you have 4 teams playing the first weekend, a couple of get eliminated, and then you have 12 teams playing the next weekend, and then 6 of them get eliminated, and then you have 8 of them in the next following. It's a way to it's a way to get around the NFL. It's a way to help with scheduling. That is the main purpose of it. Because my question was, first of all, do the powers that be, I was thinking Big Ten, SEC, do they think that a double bye is going to actually help their team in the quarterfinals? While these third seed, 4th seed, 5th seed, 6th seed, 7th seed, they're all playing at home in the round before them. They get their feet wet. They get a win at home, and now they're set up for a quarterfinal game, probably at a bowl site where it's not going to be home to the first seed or second seed. And then the answer was, I don't think they're doing this to supply an advantage in what many would on most years, anticipate the Big Ten and the SEC champion getting their top 2 byes. Most years, not all years. That's not why they're doing this. They're doing this because of pure scheduling, giving enough value to ESPN. Because ESPN owns the playoff rights, okay? Up into 2031. But you got to remember, the 16 team playoff, there is not a written contract for that. They have not negotiated that. They negotiated the 12 team, obviously, because they just did the 12 team expanded playoffs, and they were scheduled to do it this year. They are scheduled, they're going to do it this year. But they had the 14 team playoffs written into the media contract with ESPN, all approved, all signed off on. But they don't have the money, they don't have it tied down to a 16 team playoff. So what these leaders are trying to do, these commissioners, when they're trying to come up with a 16 team format, they're looking at trying to present ESPN the best format they can to get the top dollars coming back. And to get the best price from ESPN, one of those things is, let's make sure we have as many playoff games separated, not overlapped by the NFL end of their regular season or their playoffs. So that is the thinking that is going on here with the double bye. So it's crazy. It is crazy. They could negotiate a couple games to Fox. Sure they could. But again, you're not going to have any playoff games overlap with each other, right? You got to fit them in. They can't overlap. The NFL doesn't overlap their playoff games. You shouldn't do that, obviously, for obvious reasons. So college doesn't want to do that. Bobby Hansen, there should be less blowouts with this system. One positive I see with it, maybe. I think there's always going to be blowouts, though. But you're saying less. That could be. Manning hasn't played a full game, and he's the Heisman frontrunner. The biases don't even hide anymore. You know what, MBM? I am probably guilty of that because I am the conductor of the hype train. I am running that train on a track, and it's going to go to a town near you, MBM. It's going to go right through Stillwater. It's going to go right through Manhattan. It's going to go right through Lawrence. It's going to go right through Lincoln. It's going to go right through all those towns across this country. The train is on the track, and the fat guy from Minnesota could barely squeeze into the conductor's chair, and it is a going. The coal is being put in to the steam engine. So I am the reason why, most likely, that Arch Manning is listed at the top of all these Heisman Watch because of the hype that we're doing here at Peak Around the Corner. Okay, enough of the fun. Let's get to your phone calls. 763-260-1333. 763-260-1333. Let's get to your phone calls. Again, I was hoping that we were going to get some breaking news with Judge Wilkin. We did not. We did not get the breaking news. So that is disappointing. So I guess we're going to go into next week with this NCAA versus House settlement. Into next week. By the way, next week is the Southeastern Conference meetings, spring meetings, Southeastern Conference. I'm not going to get too much into it, but because it's not, we think here at Peek Around the Corner, not confirmed, not nailed down, but if the Big Ten and the SEC does do a scheduling agreement, it's not going to be like 16 games, 14 games, probably not even 12 games a season between the two conferences. Now, we could end up being wrong. We definitely do not have this nailed down. Hopefully we'll get some reporting during the spring meetings of the SEC. Maybe we will. Somebody might report possibly that there is this scuttlebutt, this continued talk in the advisory group of the SEC and the Big Ten trying to nail down a scheduling agreement when the SEC finally officially goes to 9 conference games. If it happens, we don't think it's going to be scaled up, at least at first. We don't think there's going to be a lot of games. Also, what I was told, for those in the SEC and the Big Ten, because of the scheduling agreement, if you are an institution, if you are a Big Ten team that has an SEC team already scheduled in the next few years, or if you're an SEC team that's got a Big Ten team scheduled at your home place in the next few years, there is a chance that that scheduling gets rearranged. So don't be surprised. If there is a formal scheduling agreement between the two conferences, if it all gets signed, sealed, and delivered, schedules are going to change. Within the big non-conference scheduling is going to change within the SEC and the Big Ten. And again, I was also reminded, so example, Minnesota plays Mississippi State next couple of years. I think a home and away series. One of those games might be moved. I was reminded once again, we often talk here at Peek Around the Corner. You all often talk about how contracts can change, contracts can get ripped up.
Call from
Rick?
Rick, thanks for calling. Can you just hold for one moment, please?
Oh, of course.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We often talk about how contracts can change, written up, grant of rights, no contract is ironclad. I was reminded once again that the contract in college football that is the least ironclad of all contracts, of all agreement, are scheduling agreements. Basically, they're a placeholder. Basically, all these scheduling agreements have a buyout feature to them. You're basically reserving a table, but you're not going to be ordering the dinner until you get there. You are, when you're facing a team 3 years from now on your schedule, both athletic departments have that table reserved. You think you're going to eat together, but if one of you don't want to eat there no more at that table, then you're going to probably have to pay the tip, a little bit of money for the person who's going to show up at that table to play another team. Basically, you're just setting, it's like timeshare. there's a lot of analogies to it. So scheduling contracts are the easiest ones to break. That's just the way it is. Now, and of course, I was reminded about that when it came to Notre Dame's and Clemson's contract. That thing could it go the way it is from now into 2038? It probably ain't. Some of it's going to get changed probably at some point. Rick, thanks for calling. The floor is yours. Let it rip.
Yeah, let's see if we can get this figured out. It doesn't look like she's landing the plane today.
Doesn't look like it. I haven't. No. I'm going to look right now, see if there's any reports, but I don't see anything.
We got a 3-day weekend.
3-day weekend, yep.
Yeah. And then she's had this for how long?
I don't know, actually. How long has it been? Since the last objectors were able to file, how long has she's had this?
Seems like a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
And there's no more negotiation to be, right? She's not considering, all the considerations are over. This is just her inner chamber making a decision.
I believe that's true. And she needs a 3-day weekend. I don't know. I thought it was going to happen today, sir. So
this might end up messy.
Yep.
And I'm thinking that it's simple if she approves it or disapproves it. I wish that were her only two options.
Yeah.
Are those her only two options? Or can she do something in between?
I think she can do something in between. I might be wrong though, but I don't know. What do you think, sir?
I think it's taken too long.
Yeah. Everybody wants this done with, man. Everybody, it's like, geez. They just want to know. They just, at this point, yep.
What I really want to know, is it one or two unresolved issues, or is it 10?
That's another great question. Another great question.
Because from everything I can tell, this all seems to interconnect. I don't understand how she can pluck out bits and pieces. I thought this was, left or right, up or down.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no more negotiation. It's not like the NCAA can come back and say, "Oh, wait a minute, this, and this," or that the students, the attorney for the students, can come in and say, "Oh, wait a minute, there's no more. It's all over."
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I really haven't been all that nervous about Judge Wilkin, about the possibility of her not approving it up until this phone call.
I know,
because I don't know. You think, just logically, you'd think if this was an easy peasy, okay, it's approved. Of course, it's a little rough, but we've talked about all those issues. It's approved. Enjoy your weekend and then scramble so you can. I mean, she knows that everybody's scrambling here to try to set up this system based upon this class action lawsuit if it gets approved. So she knows time is important, but yet she keeps the cards close to her vest and she's not telling us the decision yet. So yes, I'm officially worried. Right now, I'm officially worried.
I'm guessing she has clerks who work for her that make that. I mean, I don't know how it works. They discuss her.
I don't know.
Maybe there's a lot that's been written, and that could be the worst thing of all.
Yeah.
Pages and pages and pages of info. Okay, well, we'll keep our fingers crossed that she drops it on the table in the next hour and catches the first flight out.
Yeah. All right, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Great call, sir. Great call, Rick. All I'm feeling right now, Judge Wilkin not giving us her decision. Feeling a little anxiety.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. Anxiety, filling up every space, no privacy, and silently.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, guys. I don't know. I'm not sure. I can tell you the chatter behind the curtain expected this to come out Thursday or Friday this week. There's a lot of people it's not just a 3-day weekend. A lot of people are going on vacation. A lot of these sports writers, this is when they take off. You know they've got their articles written. If Judge Wilkins says approve, all they got to do is hit the button. I know the judge ain't working for the sports writers. I know the judge is not working for the commissioners and all these schools. But if you're going to approve it, send up the white smoke right now, and then you can finish up with the dotting of the I's and crossing the T's. Of course, I say this, and I have zero clear clue on what it is to be a judge and have these rulings, and I'm not the brightest bulb in the refrigerator, so I shouldn't be talking. But it's a little starting to feel some anxiety. Now, some of you aren't feeling anxiety over this, right? Some of you are like, that's okay. Bring on the chaos. Burn it all down. Whew. I hope you all know that if this doesn't get approved, I'm not going to be able to, I have no idea what the future foretells. I do know that everyone's going to continue to plan to pay for the rev share and stuff like that. But if this doesn't get approved, they're going to go back into a long and contracted court case, not just against House, but 2 other lawsuits. And a lot of athletic departments are going to get just smashed. Jose, some are waiting with champagne bottles for the great NCAA reset. Well, they're not going to get it. Do you know why, Jose? Because NCAA, when it comes to college football, is no more. It's gone. They're not the boogeyman anymore. We are. Our schools are. Our conferences are. There is no the NCAA, for the most part, except for eligibility stuff and sportsmanship stuff, but they're not going to be given the direction of FBS football. They're not going to be the ones that are going to get sued anymore after these class action lawsuits. It's our schools, it's our conferences. So it's if this goes pear-shaped, the chances of a $2.8 billion back pay, the chances of paying that money or lower than that money, forget about it. That number is going to skyrocket. And that means your school is going to, more resources are going to be going to that settlement, and less money is going to go to your student athletes, these sponsorships, all these opportunities. Lee says it makes no sense. The only thing she had an issue was with the roster size. It should not be taking this long. Stephen Clark is a very smart man. Very smart man. Absolutely. Top three Heisman candidates: Coy Pirich, Drake Lindsay, and Darius Taylor. Absolutely. Later the jam, I think the Big Ten and the SEC will make their champions the 2 double byes eventually. I would have to respectfully disagree. That would be absolutely terrible. They can do that when they split off. When they split off from everybody, they can do that. But I think that would be remarkably... That would just cause... That would be a bloodbath. Jeff Olson, the evil Badger, too much Gopher Kool-Aid. No! Okay, we're going to shut it down. We've been on the air for 1 hour and 18 minutes. A pretty short live show on a Friday, May 23rd. Again, we are going to try to come on live during the weekend. There is some stories percolating. I was not ready to fire on them today because I thought today was going to be the Judge Wilkins day today. But that did not fire off. If there is, by miracle, Judge Wilkins comes back on or later this evening, approves the deal, denies the deal, or delays the settlement deal, then we'll come back on live, an emergency live show. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen. And so we are going to leave it as is. Again, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and turn on those notifications. Because if we come on live later tonight, sometime tomorrow morning, you got to know that we're on. So you got to subscribe and turn on those notifications. I want to thank Ryan Willie for his generosity. Thank you so very much for your super chat. Thank you for the phone call, Rick. Again, a little live show on a Friday never hurt anybody as we wait for Judge Wilkins, the judge. Until next time, from all of us at PATC to all of you, please Please, you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much.